Imagine the sun disappearing over the horizon, but instead of turning on the lights, checking your phone, watching TV, or scrolling until you fall asleep, everything goes completely dark. No streetlights, no electricity, no glowing windows, no headlights, no screens, no alarms, no flashlight, just the moon, the stars, the wind, the fire, and whatever might be moving in the darkness around you. For ancient humans, nighttime was not just the end of the day, it was a completely different world. A world filled with danger, mystery, fear, stories, rituals, and survival. So what did ancient humans actually do at night? Did they sleep the entire time? Did they tell stories around fires? Did they hunt? Did they watch for predators? Did they stare at the stars and wonder what they meant? The answer is way more interesting than you might think, because before electricity, the night belonged to nature, and humans had to learn how to survive inside it. Today, most of us treat nighttime like a second version of daytime. We have lights in our homes, lights in the streets, lights in stores, lights in cars, lights in our hands. Even when the sun goes down, modern life keeps going. But for ancient humans, when the sun disappeared, the world changed instantly. The temperature dropped, visibility disappeared, predators became harder to see, the sounds of the environment became louder, and humans, who do not have the strongest night vision compared to many animals, became much more vulnerable. Imagine living thousands of years ago. You are part of a small group of people. You have spent the day walking, gathering food, hunting animals, carrying supplies, making tools, and trying not to get injured. Then the sky starts turning orange, the sun drops lower, and everyone knows the same thing. You need to get back to camp before it gets too dark. Because once the darkness arrives, the rules change. During the day, humans had an advantage. We could see, we could track animals, we could communicate over distance, we could move through the landscape. But at night, the advantage shifted. Big cats could move silently, wolves could hunt in packs, snakes and insects were harder to notice, and one wrong step could mean falling, cutting yourself, or getting lost. So the first thing ancient humans did at night was simple. They stayed close to each other, close to shelter, and once fire became part of human life, close to the flames, fire changed everything. Before humans controlled fire, darkness was almost total. The moon could help, but only on clear nights. The stars gave beauty, but not much light. A cloudy night with no fire would have been terrifyingly dark, but fire created a small circle of safety. It gave warmth. It gave light. It helped keep some animals away. It made food easier to eat. And it gave humans something extremely powerful: more time. Fire extended the day. Suddenly, humans were not forced to stop everything the moment the sun disappeared. They could sit together, repair tools, cook food, share meat, watch children, treat injuries, and most importantly, talk. This may sound simple, but it might be one of the most important things humans ever did at night, because daytime conversation was probably practical. Where is the food? Who saw animal tracks? Where should we move next? Who is helping with the hunt? What needs to be fixed? But nighttime around the fire was different. The work slowed down. The group gathered closer, faces glowed in the firelight, the darkness surrounded everyone, and the human imagination had room to wake up. This is where stories became powerful. Ancient humans likely told stories about hunts that went wrong, animals they feared, places they had traveled, people they had lost, spirits they believed were watching, lessons children needed to remember, rules the group needed to follow, and warnings about danger. A story was not just entertainment. A story could keep you alive. If someone told a story about a hunter who ignored tracks near a river and was attacked, that was not just a scary tale. It was a lesson. If someone told a story about which plants were dangerous, where water could be found, or why you should not wander alone at night, that information could be passed down without sounding like a lecture. Stories made knowledge memorable. They turned survival into imagination. And around the fire, everyone listened. The night also helped people bond. When you sit with people in darkness, sharing warmth and food, you feel connected. You laugh. You remember, you gossip, you argue, you forgive, you learn who is brave, who is funny, who is generous, who is selfish, and who can be trusted. That mattered because ancient humans survived in groups. A person alone in the wild was weak. A group that trusted each other was powerful. So nighttime was not wasted time. It was social time. It was the part of the day when humans became more than hunters and gatherers. They became families, tribes, communities. But they did not just sit around telling stories until sunrise. Sleep was still extremely important. The question is, did ancient humans sleep like we do? Today, many people think the perfect sleep schedule is one long, uninterrupted 8-hour block. You go to bed at night. You wake up in the morning. That is considered normal. But ancient sleep was probably more flexible. People without electricity did not always fall asleep right at sunset. In some traditional societies studied by researchers, people often stayed awake for hours after the sun went down, then slept during the cooler part of the night and woke near dawn. That makes sense. Right after sunset, the world may still be warm. People may still be talking, eating, making tools, or finishing tasks. But later, when the temperature drops and the fire burns lower, sleep becomes easier. Ancient humans may also have woken up during the night, not always because something was wrong, but because the night was long. Someone might wake to add wood to the fire, someone might check on a child, someone might hear an animal, someone might look at the sky. Someone might talk quietly with another person who was awake. There may have been people in the group who naturally stayed up later, and others who woke earlier. That would actually be useful, because if everyone slept deeply at the exact same time, the whole group would be vulnerable. But if some people were awake during different parts of the night, even by accident, the group had better protection. Imagine a small camp. Most people are asleep. The fire is low, the stars are bright. One person wakes up and hears something in the distance. Maybe it is nothing, maybe it is wind, maybe it is an animal. They sit up, listen, and throw more wood onto the fire. That tiny action could protect everyone. Nighttime was also when humans looked up, and this may be one of the most underrated parts of ancient life. Today, many people barely see the stars. City lights hide them, phones distract us from them, but ancient humans saw the night sky in full power. No light pollution, no skyscrapers, no airplanes, no satellites, just an endless sky filled with stars. The Milky Way would have stretched across the darkness like a glowing river. The moon would have changed shape night after night. Certain stars would rise and disappear with the seasons, and humans would have noticed. They would have used the sky to understand time, seasons, directions, migration patterns, weather changes, the right time to move, the right time to hunt, the right time to gather. The sky was not just beautiful, it was a calendar, a map, a mystery, and probably a source of religion and myth. Imagine being an ancient human, staring into the night sky with no scientific explanation for what you were seeing. The stars may have looked like ancestors, spirits, gods, eyes, fires in another world. The moon may have seemed alive. Eclipses may have been terrifying. Comets may have looked like warnings. The night sky gave humans questions they could not answer, and those questions may have helped create some of the earliest beliefs. But nighttime was not always peaceful. Some nights were dangerous. Storms could arrive. Cold could become deadly. Smoke could irritate eyes and lungs. The fire could go out. A child could get sick. Someone could be injured. Predators could come close. And the group had to react fast. There were no hospitals, no emergency services, no locked doors, no police, no weather alerts, no antibiotics. Survival depended on awareness, memory, and cooperation. If the fire died, someone had to restart it or preserve embers. If food attracted animals, someone had to move it or guard it. If the group was traveling, they needed to choose a safe place to sleep. High ground might be safer from flooding. Caves could provide shelter, but might already belong to animals. Open areas made it easier to see danger, but exposed people to cold and wind. Every night required decisions, and bad decisions could be fatal. This is why fire was not just useful, it was almost sacred. Think about what fire meant to ancient humans. It turned raw food into cooked food. It turned cold into warmth. It turned darkness into visibility. It turned fear into community. It turned night into time. Without fire, night was a threat. With fire, night became a gathering place. And this may be where some of the most human parts of us became stronger. Language, storytelling, music, memory, humor, belief, teaching, trust, You can picture it, a group sitting around the fire, someone scraping a tool, someone cooking meat, a child falling asleep beside a parent, an elder telling a story, a hunter explaining what happened that day, someone laughing, someone staring into the flames, someone looking past the firelight into the dark, making sure nothing is watching them back. That scene may be one of the oldest human scenes on Earth, and in a strange way, we still live it. When people sit around a campfire today, something changes. Phones go away, voices get quieter, stories come out, people talk deeper, the fire pulls everyone in. That feeling is ancient. It is older than cities, older than writing, older than money, older than almost everything we call civilization. So what did ancient humans do at night? They survived, they watched, they slept, they woke, they repaired tools, they cooked, they protected each other. They studied the stars, they told stories, they taught children, they shared fears, they created meaning, and maybe most importantly, they became closer. Because the night was not empty, the night was where imagination lived. It was where humans looked into the darkness and tried to understand the world. It was where danger forced people together. It was where fire turned fear into connection. Today, we have replaced the fire with screens. We still gather around glowing light at night, but instead of flames, it is phones, TVs, laptops, and city lights. The glow changed, but the instinct stayed. We still want stories after dark. We still want comfort. We still want to feel safe. We still wonder what is out there. And maybe that is the most interesting part. Ancient humans at night were not that different from us. They were scared of the dark. They wanted warmth. They wanted food. They wanted people close. They wanted stories. They looked at the sky and asked questions. They listened to strange sounds and imagined danger. They watched the fire and felt something they could not fully explain. So the next time the lights go out, or you find yourself outside at night, away from the city, look up. Listen. Imagine the world with no electricity, no buildings, no roads, no phone in your hand, just stars above you, darkness around you, and a fire keeping you alive. That was nighttime for ancient humans. Not just the end of the day, but the beginning of a different world.